Hey, hello, I'm Kråkan, also known as Corvus Cornix, so welcome to Yacc, yet another Crowcast where I pick a game, I play it for a week, and then I'll talk about it. This week's game is The Legend of Zelda for the Nintendo Entertainment System. It was released in 1987, developed by Nintendo's R&D 4, and published by Nintendo. And also there will be spoilers up ahead, just so you know, but first a little backstory. So I asked my friend SussaneLikesCake what game she wanted me to play, and she picked between, or she wanted me to play like DuckTales or Zelda. Since I already covered DuckTales, Zelda it was, or Zelda it is. So as you start up the game, you are prompted to put in a name for the character. Link is the obvious choice, but you can pretty much name him anything. So the first screen are a couple of mountains and an open cave. So you walk into the cave and there's an old man there saying, "It's dangerous to go along, take this." So he gives you a wooden sword. It's possible to beat the game without the sword, but it's much more of a hassle. So this is where I thought I knew Zelda inside and out, but I apparently don't. I just went exploring and I found some enemies, Tektite, Moblins, Octoroks, and enemies drop rupees or hearts or fairies, and fairies kind of replenish almost every like a full bar of like health, I think. And you start out with 3 hearts for beginners, but as you beat bosses or pick up heart containers, you get an extra heart from picking them up, I guess. So as I did some exploring, I found Dungeon 3, and realizing that I went totally the wrong way and the dungeon was too hard, I just restarted the game. So I went online and just got a map of the whole thing, where everything were, because this game demands a map. There's literally a secret almost in every screen that you scroll by. So looking at the map, I realized that the first dungeon is a bit further up on an island. And the cool thing about this island is that it's a couple of trees, and one of the trees on this island leads to the dungeon itself, like the Deco tree or something, which is kind of cool. And well inside the dungeon, there's like 3 options. Right ahead, which has like a locked door, and then left and right. The left or right choices either present you with keys, which are kind of bats. They are bats, but they're called keys for some reason. And the other location is with Stalfos, which are undead skeletons. So you beat them and you get keys to progress. But there's another way that you actually can progress without using the keys. You just leave the dungeon as you enter it and you return to it, and then the door is open somehow. I don't know if it's like a glitch or something, but yeah. So I explored the dungeon some more and I found the compass. And the compass just shows the boss location of the dungeon, and I've also found a map which, displays what the dungeon looks like. So I beat some monsters and they drop bombs, and bombs can be selected while pressing start and just putting like a cursor or like a marker over it. So that's what you use the B button for, and the A button uses the sword. And this is one of those things that kind of baffled me, because I'm used to Link drawing his sword on the B button from Ocarina of Times and like Majora's Mask. So I was like a little confused, why the A button, not the B button? You jump with the A button and sword is B button, or whatever. Kind of logic in every other game, you shoot with the B button. And, it's a small complaint, but whatever. I also got the boomerang in this dungeon by beating some enemies. I think they also throw boomerangs. And then I went to beat the boss, and every time you beat the boss, you get their heart or a heart container, so you get 1 extra life from beating a boss. And you also get like a piece of the triforce. There are like 8 pieces of them. So yeah. And at this point I realized that I was lost again, so I have to consult the map on where to go. So at this point I got the blue candle. It was located in a shop. So the shops are not actually physical houses, they are dungeons. So you can bomb walls when you get the bombs, or you can burn down bushes. So they reveal like a staircase or an open wall in a rock face, and you can go in there. You can buy potions and meats and all kinds of stuff that you need on your adventure. But in order to buy them, you need a lot of currency. If you kill an enemy, they either drop rupees or hearts or fairies, as I said before. But there are other ways to make money. So you can burn down a bush or blow up a rock face if you know where the secret locations are. You can find a moblin that says it's a secret to everybody, and it will give you like 30 rupees or something. And there are also money-making games where you spend a little money to make some money or lose. It's like a gamble. So I grinded some money and I bought a lot of stuff. And I also grabbed the magical sword, and I had no idea as a kid where to find it. So I'm very happy that that I found this map. So you're supposed to go up to like a small lake area, you beat an enemy, you go into a cave, and you need to have like 4 or 5 hearts to even get the sword or something like that. It's a bit cryptical, but yeah, it's a better sword. It's not made of wood. So I found a fairy fountain with a great fairy in it, and she healed me up. And as a kid, I never actually found this place, and I was kind of baffled. I must have walked by it like a couple of times. And at this point, I grabbed another heart container, making that the 8th one. And I also found that moblin that says like it's a secret for everybody. Apparently, there's like multiple locations on the map that I didn't even know as a kid. And then I went for the second dungeon and I fought a bunch of ropes. So ropes in these games are actually snakes. I don't know why they call them ropes. Maybe it's like a naming convention or a joke. But anyway, I grabbed a compass and a map. And the map is shaped like a crescent moon. So that's a thing with this game. All the maps are shaped like something, so the rooms make up like an image in the corner once you get the map. So the boss of this dungeon are like triceratops or something. They are called the dongos, and the dongos don't like smoke. The fact is that that's a little misleading. They don't like to eat bombs, so you just feed them bombs until they explode. Just like the Zelda game, I guess, the Ocarina of Times one. So I left the dungeon. After beating the dongo, I got the triforce and a piece of heart, and then I left the dungeon, and I realized that there was something else hidden in the dungeon. The same thing was with like the first dungeon. You get the bow in there, and in the second dungeon you get the magic boomerang. And the magic boomerang is just a blue boomerang that flies longer across the screen, I guess, and it's a little faster. And then you might want to pick up the blue ring. And the blue ring does better defense, and it also magically changes Link's clothes from green to gray. So that's what the blue ring does, I guess. So then I went for the third dungeon, which I did at the beginning and failed miserably at. So in this dungeon you get the raft, and you also get like a piece of heart and the third force, triforce piece. And this dungeon is shaped like a mirrored swastika. I don't know why. It's probably like the Buddhist symbol, I guess, but yeah, let's leave it at that. And the boss in this dungeon is a 4-mouthed blue monster thingy, so you beat every mouth, if that makes sense. It's kind of weird to say, but you beat every mouth and it gets faster and faster until it explodes. So that's what you do, and then you grab a triforce, I guess, and the piece of heart from it. And the fourth dungeon is a very ugly dungeon. It has yellow tiles. Here you meet other enemies like blue devils and red keys. And the blue devils, once you kill them or dispose of them, they turn into 2 red keys like butterflies. What do you call them? Bats. And there are a lot of dark rooms in here. I think you can use the candle to lit the area. And in this dungeon you find a ladder, like the step ladder, and that can be used to cross surfaces like lava or water. And also you can find like secrets with it, or yeah, that's basically what it's for. And there's like a mini boss. You fight the 4-mouthed blue monster thing again, and then you fight a 2-headed dragon. And this is the recipe for the dungeons up ahead as well. So the mid boss or the mid bosses is just reprising the roles again. Once you beat them in one dungeon as the main boss, they go back in like the food chain and become lesser monsters and mini bosses, I guess. So before you go to the 5th dungeon, you might want to pick up 2 things. The power bracelet, which is located in under a statue in not a wooden area, but a mountain area. And the power bracelet, it looks like a croissant, like those French pastries or bread. But anyway, the croissant or the power bracelet can actually move rocks, so you can reveal other hidden locations and goodies. And you also might want to go to the graveyard and push one of the stones aside to get the magical sword. And I think the magical sword is the final sword that you get. So I didn't talk about this before, but if your health bar is full, or if your hearts are full, you shoot a beam from your sword, and that's actually good to hitting enemies by distance. You later get the arrows, you buy them in like a dungeons. And the arrows are self-explanatory. You can shoot bad guys from a distance as well. So in the 5th dungeon you find a flute, and you use it on one of the mini bosses, and it actually weakens it. So there's this orange eye kind of thing, so it's like this huge buffed up thing, but once you play the flute it shrinks down. You can dispose of it easy. And then you pick up its heart, the heart container, and the triforce piece, and you move on. So in the 6th dungeon you get the whiz robes, which are magical casting enemies, and you get the likes, which looks like disgusting kind of foreskin monsters, I guess. And the main boss in this dungeon is Goma from it was in Ocarina of Times, the first boss there. So you shoot it in the eye with the arrows and that's how you do it. And the mini boss in this dungeon is a 3-headed dragon. So they're really creative. We had a couple of dungeons ago, you had a 2-headed dragon. Now it's 3. So yeah, take that. So for later on, you need to go to a shop and pick up some meat for a moblin that needs it in a later dungeon. He won't let you pass until he gets his meat because he's grumpy. And you use the flute later to drain a lake to reveal the next dungeon, the 7th dungeon, I guess. And the 7th dungeon looks like a face. So here you get the red candle and the boss is like a dragon. And you get the heart container and you pick up a piece of the triforce. So with this candle, you actually reveal the location of the 8th and final dungeon. Well, not the final dungeon, I guess, but the almost final dungeon. So, yeah. Oh, and you also pick up a magic book in the dungeon as well. So in the 8th dungeon, you get the A key, which I presume is the boss key. All. It just says all on the key instead of a number, so all keys, skeleton key. So the 9th and final dungeon is located in the mountains. So there are 2 huge rocks next to each other. You bomb one of them and you reveal the entrance. But before you go into this huge dungeon, which is shaped like a skull and it has many rooms, you might want to stock up on potions because it's a hard dungeon. So in this dungeon, a lot of the bosses that you fought previous will reprise the roles as mini bosses. So you pick up the red ring, which turns Link's clothes red, because that's what magical rings do, and it also gives you a better defense rating so you can take more damage. You also pick up the silver arrows, which is the only way to defeat Ganon, and I have no idea why the thing that will beat Ganon is located in his lair. But that's a Zelda trope in general, I guess. You find the thing in the dungeon that you need to defeat the boss with. So once you fight Ganon, there's this room also shaped like a skull. You hit him with a sword enough times, and then he turns another color, and you shoot him with the silver arrows, and then he dies basically. And you pick up the remains. It sounds terrible, but yeah, whatever. You walk into the next room and you put out some fires and you save Zelda, and that's the end of the game pretty much. So gameplay. Follow Link on his quest to grab 8 fragments of the Triforce and save Princess Zelda from the evil Ganon in the end. Control, D-pad moves Link around, or the character. The B button uses the items, the A button uses the sword, and the start button brings up the pause menu and the inventory when you can select different items. Graphics. 8-bit charming graphics. It's simple, and I've said this so many times, but it bears repeating. It's exactly what you're looking at with these kind of graphics. Sound and music. Koji Kondo made the music for this game, and it's a classic. But in the credits, the credits scroll text, I think he's referred to Konchan or something. I don't know why. Maybe it's a homage or something. I don't know. Easter eggs, secrets, and glitches. So when you enter the first dungeon, you just want to leave immediately. But when you re-enter the dungeon, the door right in front of you will be unlocked. I don't know if this is a bug or glitch, but it works every time. So there's another thing you can do called screen wrapping or screen warping. So at the end of the edge of the screen, 5 pixels, move Link 5 pixels to the edge, and then you press up or down on the D-pad, and then you move on to the other screen, and then you will appear on the left side instead of the right, or vice versa. So this works up and down, left and right. So this is used during speedruns to cross areas and get to other places faster, which is kind of cool. So in conclusion, I wrote, yes, play it. So this game spawned the franchise, which I'm very thankful of today. One of my favorite games ever is Ocarina of Times, and enough said, I should just stop talking about it. But on the negative side, this game doesn't hold your hand at the beginning. I mean, I ended up at Dungeon 3 at the beginning because I just started exploring and I got my butt handed to me. But if you get a map of everything with some indications of where to go, you're set. So in the beginning, the game is kind of brutal and hard, but once you discover secrets, and there are secrets in every other screen that you scroll by, you get heart containers, you upgrade your sword, you get items. It's fun to play once you get into it. But if you don't have a map, you don't know where to find these goodies. And that's more or less it. It's good to have a map. It's good to know where to go. So thank you, SussaneLikesCake, for picking this game for me. I really like this game. getting to revisit a good game now and then that you totally forgot about, it's good. It's all good. So anyway, thanks for listening and or watching, and take care.